gonna explain you how to properly perform a squat. Today, my teammate Jenna is gonna be helping us. And so what we're gonna do first, before we jump into how to properly set up under the bar and execute the squat, we are gonna first assess Jenna's hip mobility, because part of doing a good squat or having proper technique and being able to lift a lot of weight has also not to do just with strength, but also with hip mobility, how you position yourself, how tight your muscles around the hips are, and all those crucial elements. So we first are going to assess, like I said, her hip mobility. We're going to do 2 assessments, and then after that we're going to walk her through a warm-up so we can activate all the muscles that are going to be involved in the squat. Okay, so we first are going to assess Jenna's hip internal and external rotation. So I'm going to ask her to lay down on the mat. Then she's just going to bring her leg up, just hold her knee at 90 degrees. And I'm going to gently turn the leg internally. And although I'm turning her leg internally, here I'm assessing external rotation. So it's not bad, but it's a little bit tight. So now to the outside, this is for internal rotation, and we can see that it's like really tight. So on the left leg, we can see that she's tight, so there's not much mobilization there. We're gonna do the same thing here. Okay. Okay, yeah, so we can see that she is kind of tight and doesn't have much internal and external rotation on her hips. So that's something we can work on, but we need to be aware that maybe that's gonna compromise her squat form at the beginning. She might be, when she goes down because of that like lack of mobilization, she might just like lean forward one way or another. She might like bring her knees in or something. So that's gonna be compromised not because of lack of strength, but because of lack of mobilization on her hips. Okay, so you can stand up. Now for the second assessment, I'm gonna ask you to go into here. So just go as if you're gonna go into a Bulgarian split squat. Yep. And you're gonna go down, as far down as you can, keeping a straight back. Try to touch the floor with your knee, keeping a straight back. Okay, so that's not too bad. She was really close to touching the ground, and she kept like her back straight. So we can see that she's not as tight on that part. So let's try the other leg. Okay, hold on, straight back. All right, and she touched the knee. It was fairly easy. So we can see that that part, maybe her adductor, she's not as tight, which is great because that's gonna help us with hip extension at the bottom of the squat. So now let's just go ahead and start some warm-ups so we can maybe work on that mobilization as well as activate the muscles that we're gonna use. Ready? Ready. Okay, the first exercise to work on kind of like her hips and like opening them up and getting her to start moving them, we're gonna do hip airplanes. So I'm gonna ask her, you can do this holding, grabbing into something, or without it. Jenna doesn't have very great balance, so we're gonna let her hold into this. But like I said, you can do it without holding into anything. It's just harder. So she's gonna go into the airplane. So she's gonna try to like lean forward, with your back leg, and then she's gonna try to open up her hips using her arm, keeping a stable leg here. So I don't want to see any rotation on her knee. We want to see her hips rotating, opening them and closing them. So she's gonna have to actually engage her glutes and her quads so she can like stay stable. So if you can demonstrate it for us, Jenna. So she's gonna bring her arm in first, and then as she opens up the arm, she opens up her hips. Okay, try to keep a straight leg. There you go. And then she goes back in again. Just do it again. And up. Keep straight knee. Okay, close them. Try to think of like rotating your chest with it as well. So as you come here, you're rotating your entire body. So your chest and your hips are rotating while you're keeping a straight knee. she can do this for 2 sets of 10 reps each side, and that should like help her to open up her hips. Our second exercise is gonna help us kind of assess again how much mobility she has in her torso and her hips, and also it's gonna allow us to warm her up. So she's gonna do kind of like a long, deep lunge, and then she's gonna rotate her torso. So if you wanna, Jenna, do it, she's gonna go into a lunge, gonna go deep, and then she's gonna rotate to the opposite, and the opposite side. So you rotate to the opposite side of the leg that you take your lunge. So that's it, okay? And then the second one, she goes up, it goes down, and twist it. There you go. And now this way, just turn back. That way. Down. Keep it stable. Switch. There you go. So go again. Okay, so we can see that she has some stabilization problems. Like it's hard for her to like keep balance here, so her knees like going to the sides and caving in. Like I said, how we can work on that is by trying to like be aware of activating her glutes, so she can like make an effort to keep that knee there. But overall, she went to the side, so I would say that that was decent mobilization. So with that, I think we're ready to move into the other exercise. Okay, for the next exercise, we're gonna try to work on some stabilization as well as firing up the glutes. So this is gonna be, you're gonna hinge your hips a little bit and put your torso forward. And while you're keeping like a straight, tight core, you're gonna kick with one of the legs to the side. So kick to the side with one of the legs. There you go, and keep engaged. So what we wanna see is kind of like, like I said, hips hinge forward, and while we keep this tight, engage your glutes, we wanna like kick to the side, kick to the side. What we wanna avoid is like letting our knee like kind of like wiggling around, or like letting our like feet like wiggling around. We want to be stable and like strengthening there. So try that again, and try to engage your glutes so they can keep your knee straight, because we don't want to see any type of tilt. So try again. Go. Good. I think her balance again is kind of like limiting her a little bit as well, but she can do this thing again, hold it into something if that makes it easier. The important thing is just to keep in mind that you gotta use the working leg. Is not gonna be the one that is making the kick. The working leg is the one that is gonna stay on the floor. So we're gonna use, like I said, our glutes to keep that leg rooted to the ground and our knees stable, as well as our foot completely flat to the ground. So she can do, like I said again, 10 reps for 2 sets each leg, and that should get your glutes and your like quads and hamstrings fired up. So now that we are well warmed up, we assessed your mobilization. Now we're gonna go into the setup for the squat. Okay, now we're gonna just go ahead and explain the correct setup for a squat. So there's a couple key aspects that we need to keep in mind. So I'm just gonna explain first the key aspects for the upper body, and then I'm gonna explain, Jenna, the key aspects for the lower body. The first thing that you need to know, that is the most important thing about the squat, is that the bar should always be aligned with your midfoot. So we want the bar path to be straight and to always stay aligned with your midfoot. The second thing that we need to know for like the upper body thing is grip and where to place it on your back. Jenna's mobility is a little bit restricted just because of past assessments that I've also made with her when it came to like shoulder mobility and all that stuff. I've noticed that she's a little bit tight, so I'm gonna just have her do a high bar position with the bar, and we're gonna see how that feels for her, and based on that we're gonna adjust the grip so she can actually engage those lats and create a proper upper back shelf, which is where the bar is gonna rest. So for the bar to be racked, we're gonna keep in mind that the bar has to be at a height of mid-sternum. So we already like accommodated that with Jenna. It's right mid-sternum. Now we're gonna ask her to just step in, just get under the bar so we can figure out what the correct grip should be. Okay, so it's important to keep in mind that the grip, like how wide or close it is, it really does depend on the person. If the person is extremely flexible and has a lot of mobility on the shoulders, that will influence how wide or close it's gonna be. And if the bar maybe could go lower. The more mobility you have on your shoulders, the lower the bar can go. So like I said, because of Jenna's mobility, we're gonna do a high bar. So the bar is gonna be resting just in her upper back in the traps, just in the middle. She is gonna tension. When you think about like tension in a resting bar, you're gonna think about like tension your back and of bending the bar. So in case, try to think about your pinkies like bending the bar in a U, and that's gonna engage your lats on the side. So in that position, she's good. We can see that maybe her grip is a little bit tight. So try to maybe widen it up a little bit. Okay, and in that position, she can still engage her lats here. So just mimic like if you're gonna bend the bar and engage the lats. Okay, how does that feel? Good, good. Okay, so you can step up. So that's when it comes to the upper body. For the lower body, just want to take a step back. The proper depth for a squat is where your knee joint is pretty much aligned with your hip. So Jenna, if you want to stay on the side, stay like that. Yep. So just go down, please. So we want this to be aligned with her hip. So right now she's too high. So I'm asking you to go a little bit lower. Go lower. Oh, I don't think I can. She cannot. Okay, just try again. Go low, 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 low. Okay, so right here we can see that because of Jenna's lack of hip mobility, she just cannot go any lower without like losing balance. So this is what I was talking about before. She's actually a really strong person. She plays soccer and she lifts heavy. She's strong, but her squat is not as optimal just because of hip mobility. So she might not be able to. Right now she's probably doing partial squats because she's not going all the way down, which is fine. You're still working your lower body, but that's putting more stress on her knees, and she's not fully working out her entire posterior chain. So if we work with hip exercise and stuff, you can still improve mobility, and hopefully throughout time she will be able to get the correct depth. So just keeping that in mind, we're gonna work with what we have right now and what the depth it's good, but we're just gonna have to like work with that, and throughout time I'll help you out to improve that hip mobility. So just keep that in mind. The ideal depth is just knee joints align with your hips. Another key aspect of the squat is the feet. So Jenna was previously telling me that in her CrossFit class, she actually was told that she had to lean backwards and like rest all her weight on her heels. So when I first asked her to do a demonstration just to assess where she was, like her toes were like lifting off the floor. So that's actually wrong. You're not supposed to like lean all your weight backwards. It's actually dangerous because you could like fall backwards. So when you are focusing on your feet, you have to think about a key aspect, and that aspect is that your foot needs to be fully flat, and you need to be focusing on 3 points of contact. So those 3 points of contact are gonna be here, here, and here. So you want to make sure that the entire time that you're performing the squat, your foot is gonna be entire flat, and you're gonna be grabbing into the floor. So as if you had like claws and you're like grabbing into them and twisting the floor. That's what you're gonna think about, engaging your feet and keeping them there, because that's how you're gonna transmit power from the ground onto your legs, so you can push up at the bottom of the spine. So while thinking of that, also another key aspect that needs to connect with the entire upper lower body, like everything we just discussed, is breathing and bracing. Like I mentioned in previous videos, breathing and bracing is extremely important, not for just one lift or two. It's extremely important for any type of lift that you make because you want to keep a tight core and you want to be able to have a body, like a tight body that's going to allow you to transmit power from the ground into your upper body. So for this one, you're just going to focus on breathing in. Remember, not with your chest, but with your diaphragm. So you're going to try to focus on inflating your tummy as you're taking a breath in. So I want to feel, when you inhale, I want to feel how this part expands. So just take a breath. Yeah, and then you're gonna brace, there you go, and now inflate your obliques. That's how you're gonna finish bracing the core. So she goes in, she goes brace, and then she inflates her obliques. And that's how she's gonna be ready. If I wanted to give her a punch on the gut, she should be able to take it without any problem. If I touch her and there's any like soft spots, that's how I know she's not properly bracing. So what you're gonna think about is, right as you have the bar, you're gonna think about like taking your air. So inhale, you're gonna draw your ribs down a little bit and then inflate your obliques. So if I had my fingers here, you would want to push my fingers out. So you want to do it again? So draw down ribs, inflate, there you go. That's good. So that's what you want to do right before you go down. And you want to hold that breath all the way down until you're back up again. And that's one breath, okay? So now that we have the proper setup, let's go ahead and execute the squat. She can just walk in, just gonna set up, just go under the bar. Okay, unrack it. You can unrack it now. Okay, just take a couple steps backward. Okay, so remember, inhale, draw ribs back, down, inflate obliques, twist floor with the foot, and sit back. Go, and then up. Okay, you can do that a little bit faster if you want. And just remember, so inhale, brace, put the tension, feet, sit back, and then push. Ready? Oh, it's okay, so I can cue you, that's alright. Okay, so inhale, ribs down, inflate obliques, twist floor, there you go down, up, there you go. Try to engage your lats, so remember, think of the pinky, yeah, do it again. Okay, just one more time. Okay, thank you. You can just rack it. Okay, so overall, I would say that it was good technique overall, but we can definitely see that her depth is limited by her hip mobility, and maybe a little bit of the grip. Maybe it was too wide, but we could do better with the engaging the legs. But overall, it's just a hard concept to grasp. She's not used to engaging and twisting the floor with her feet, so I bet that was a little bit uncomfortable.
And the wide grip.
And the wide grip. She was also used to have a really tight grip on the back, and that kept her from like engaging her lats properly. She was like really tight here, so that was like keeping her like out of balance, and she was not really tight on her back. So overall, she learned new techniques, and just like I said, it takes a little bit to get used to new concepts, which is completely opposite from what she has learned until this point. But overall, if we work on some of that technique, keep that technique, focus on the breathing and bracing, and we work on that hip mobility exercises, I think with time you'll be able to get a proper squat form. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.